Welcome, my precious audience. Tonight I open a page from the book of my hidden emotions, one that I never meant to reveal. This is not just a poem, it's a confession born from the quietest corners of my heart. I loved you in silence, but my heart spoke louder. Even when my lips stayed still, my eyes betrayed every secret, every feeling that lived beneath the calm of my soul. My silence was not emptiness. It was filled with love too sacred to be spoken, love that existed between every heartbeat I dared not share. There are some loves that don't need words to exist. You feel them in the air, in glances that linger too long, in moments where time stops just to listen to your heartbeat. That was how I loved her. Quietly, endlessly, without a name or a promise. It wasn't the kind of love that shouted or demanded. It was the kind that worshipped from afar, that smiled while breaking inside. My silence became my devotion, and though she never knew, my heart had already made its choice. Every time she walked into a room, the world seemed to fade. My heart would start speaking in ways my voice could never dare. It would whisper her name to the rhythm of my pulse, it would tremble with joy just to see her smile. I stayed silent because I respected her world, her peace, her path, but my silence carried more love than 1,000 spoken confessions. The kind of love that doesn't need to be returned to remain true. Sometimes, love is not about possession, it's about presence. About being there quietly, holding your feelings like a secret flower in your chest, blooming only when you're alone. I watched her laugh, I watched her dream. And though my heart ached to call her mine, I chose to protect her peace instead of my own. That's the kind of love that hurts beautifully, the one that asks for nothing but still gives everything. People think silence means weakness, but they don't understand the courage it takes to love someone without saying it. To smile when your heart is screaming. To walk away when all you want is to stay. My silence was my strength, my loyalty, my way of saying, I love you, without breaking what was never meant to be spoken. Because sometimes, words can ruin what silence protects. There were nights when I wrote her name on paper and then tore it apart before dawn. Nights when I stood on my balcony, watching the stars, whispering wishes I knew would never come true. My poems became my only voice, my heart's language, written for her but shared with the world. Every verse I ever wrote carried a trace of her, a reflection of the love I could never say aloud. The world called it poetry, but I called it survival. In her absence, I learned that silence has a voice, one that only the soul can hear. It speaks in sighs, in pauses, in moments of stillness that say everything words never could. When she was near, my silence roared. When she left, my heart kept speaking, writing, remembering. Love like that never dies, it just finds softer ways to live. I loved her without ownership, without demands, without the need to be seen. It was pure, it was quiet, it was infinite. She may never know how deeply I cared, how much I prayed for her happiness, how many times I smiled through the pain of distance. But that's the beauty of silent love. It doesn't seek acknowledgement. It exists because it was real, even if unspoken. There's a strange kind of peace in loving someone silently. It hurts, yes, but it also purifies. It teaches you patience, humility, faith. It reminds you that love is not just about being together, it's about feeling deeply, even in separation. It's about finding strength in longing, beauty in restraint, and meaning in pain. My silence became my teacher, and my heart became my poet. Today, I still write about her. Not out of sadness, but out of gratitude. Because she taught me how love can exist without conditions. She taught me that the truest emotions don't always need an audience, they just need a heart willing to feel. And though she may never read these words, she'll live forever in them, just as she still lives in me.
There are moments when I still feel her presence in the stillness of the night, as if her soul hovers gently around the words I write. Sometimes I close my eyes and see her silhouette in the moonlight, standing quietly where my memories left her. My heart begins to whisper again, the same way it did back then, softly, endlessly, faithfully. I tell myself I've moved on, but love like this never truly ends. It just learns how to hide behind strength, behind poetry, behind the calmness I show to the world. My silence became my sanctuary, a place where I could love her without limits, without fear, without losing her to reality. I learned that silence is not empty. It's full of emotions too sacred for speech. It carries the heartbeat of a love too powerful to be explained. Each time I write, I'm not writing for fame, not for applause. I'm writing to keep her alive in the only place she still belongs, inside my soul. Because even when everything fades, words remain, and through them, so does she. There were times when I wondered if she ever felt it, the silent pull between us, the invisible bond that never broke even when we walked different paths. Maybe she did. Maybe in some quiet moment, her heart heard mine calling, even if her mind refused to listen. That's the beauty of true connection. It transcends distance, pride, and time. Love doesn't need to be loud to be real. Sometimes the softest echoes last the longest. If I could go back, I wouldn't change my silence. Because it was honest. It was pure. It came from a place of reverence, not regret. I didn't want to ruin what was divine by forcing it into words. She deserved peace, not confusion. And maybe, in another lifetime, I'll have the courage to say all that I never did, but for this one, I'm content knowing that my heart spoke for me, even when my lips could not. My silence taught me patience, but my heart taught me endurance. I learned how to smile through ache, how to write through tears, how to love through distance. People call me Fazza, the poet prince, the dreamer of words, but if they look deeper, they'd see that every verse I write carries her fragrance, every rhyme holds her name hidden between the letters. She may be gone from my life, but never from my language. Even now, when the world cheers and my smile shines for them, there's a small voice inside that whispers, she would have understood. She would have known what I meant even without me saying it. That's the kind of bond that never dies. It just becomes quieter, more peaceful, like a sunset that never ends, only softens into eternity. I still believe she hears me somehow, in the pauses of my poems, in the breath between my lines. So, to her, and to every soul that has loved in silence, I say this: never underestimate the power of an unspoken heart. Words may fade, promises may break, but the purity of a love kept in silence endures forever. I loved you in silence, but my heart spoke louder. It spoke through the stars, through my verses, through every beat that still remembers your name.